Have you ever stopped to think about whether the things you do every day are silently shaping your future in ways you've never imagined? Whether it's your habits, your relationships, or even your mindset, those seemingly small choices can have a massive impact on your happiness, health, and well-being as you grow older. In today's video, we're uncovering 12 uncomfortable truths about aging that no one talks about but everyone needs to hear. Stay with us until the very end, because each point builds on the last, and the final lesson might completely transform how you approach the year ahead. If you want to age with wisdom, grace, and fulfillment instead of regret, this video is for you. Before we dive in, I'd really appreciate it if you could like this video to help me continue spreading these important lessons about aging. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend subscribing and turning on the bell so you never miss an update. If you like the video, please comment number 1, and if you don't, comment 0, so I know how to improve for you. Let's get started. Number 1. Holding resentment toward your children or family. Imagine for a moment you're sitting in the comfort of your home, gazing out the window as memories flood your mind. You think back on years filled with sacrifices, late nights, endless patience, and everything you did to ensure your children had the best opportunities in life. You gave your all, often putting your own needs aside. But now, as the days pass, you can't help but notice a change. Perhaps your children don't call as often as they once did. Maybe they live far away, immersed in their responsibilities, or they seem preoccupied with the demands of their own lives. That emotional distance, whether real or just how it feels, creates a space where resentment can begin to grow. Resentment is a subtle intruder. It starts as a fleeting thought, but over time, it takes root, clouding your peace of mind. It's like carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each thought of, "They don't appreciate what I did," or "Why don't they make more effort?" adds another stone to your load. Day by day, the weight accumulates until it feels unbearable. But here's the paradox. These stones don't burden the people we resent. They burden us. They drain our energy, steal our joy, and tether us to the past. As the philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not the events themselves that disturb us, but our interpretations of them." This wisdom reminds us that our suffering often stems from the meaning we assign to situations rather than the situations themselves. For example, if your children don't call as frequently as you'd like, it doesn't necessarily mean they don't care. If they don't visit often, it doesn't diminish their love for you. But when we allow resentment to fester, we begin to build invisible walls that push us further away from the very connections we yearn for. The truth is, resentment doesn't just harm your relationships, it deeply affects your emotional and physical health. Research shows that carrying resentment can elevate stress levels, increase blood pressure, and disrupt sleep. It's a silent thief that accelerates aging, not just on the outside, but from the inside out. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer the consequences. Forgiveness is often misunderstood as condoning or excusing someone's behavior. But in reality, it's a powerful act of self-liberation. Forgiveness isn't about letting others off the hook. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of resentment. It's choosing to prioritize your well-being over the desire to hold on to anger or disappointment. So, how can you begin? Start small. Take a quiet moment for yourself, find a notebook, and write down everything you feel, raw, unfiltered, and honest. Don't worry about grammar or structure, just let the words pour out. When you're ready, read what you've written and reflect. Ask yourself, do I want these emotions to continue controlling my life, or am I ready to release them? Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminds us that mistakes are part of the human experience. People, including those we love, often act out of ignorance, stress, or circumstances we may not fully understand. Letting go of resentment doesn't mean ignoring the hurt. It means choosing not to let that hurt define you. You have the power to live either imprisoned by resentment or liberated by peace. Imagine what you could gain by releasing this burden. Perhaps you'll rediscover the joy in the small moments, like a surprise phone call, an unexpected message, or a heartfelt conversation. And even if those moments don't come as often as you wish, you'll still reclaim something invaluable: your emotional freedom. Resentment doesn't punish the people we direct it toward. It punishes us. Letting go isn't a weakness, it's a strength. It's an act of reclaiming your peace, your power, and your ability to find joy in the present. Number 2. Neglecting personal hygiene. It's a topic that rarely comes up in everyday conversation, yet it's something many individuals face, especially as they age. Life changes, and so do our habits. Sometimes for the better, but often in ways that don't serve our well-being. As we grow older, the priorities we once held dear, like maintaining our hygiene, can sometimes take a back seat. This might happen for a variety of reasons: diminished energy, physical limitations, or simply the thought that these routines don't matter as much anymore. But this neglect, even when it feels minor or inconsequential, has a profound ripple effect. It impacts not only how others perceive you, but also how you view and feel about yourself. Taking care of your hygiene goes far beyond appearances. It's a reflection of the respect and care you have for yourself, your health, and your overall sense of dignity. When you take the time to refresh yourself, whether it's through a warm shower, grooming your hair, or dressing in clean, well-fitting clothes, it's not just your physical state that improves. Your mental and emotional state benefits too. You feel more aligned with who you are, more present in your daily life. Now consider the opposite. Days, or even weeks, of neglecting basic hygiene practices like brushing your teeth, changing your clothes regularly, or trimming your nails. At first, these lapses might feel like minor oversights, but over time they compound. The effects become noticeable, not just to others, but to yourself. You might start feeling disconnected, weighed down by a sense of lethargy or even embarrassment. It's a subtle yet powerful shift that can influence your mood, your confidence, and the way you interact with the world around you. There's also an important social element to consider. Hygiene isn't just about self-care. It's about how you present yourself in shared spaces and how you connect with others. Think about a hug, a close conversation, or a visit from a friend or family member. These moments of connection can feel uncomfortable or strained if someone senses that you've been neglecting these aspects of care. Without even realizing it, you might send a message of withdrawal, disinterest, or even self-isolation, which can create a distance in your relationships. The philosopher Seneca once said, "We must care for our body like a temple, not for vanity, but out of respect." This wisdom highlights an essential truth. Caring for yourself is a form of self-respect. It's a way of honoring the life and body you've been given. Good hygiene doesn't require perfection or lavish routines. It's about consistency, effort, and choosing to feel comfortable and confident in your skin. That confidence radiates outward, influencing not just your interactions with others, but also how they perceive and respond to you. If you've ever found yourself questioning the importance of personal grooming or letting those routines slip, take a moment to reflect on what those small acts of care could mean for your well-being. Something as simple as a refreshing bath, brushing your hair, or putting on clean clothes can transform your day, lifting your mood and reminding you of your worth. These aren't superficial acts. They're foundational steps toward feeling grounded, empowered, and ready to face the world. Your hygiene routine is more than just a habit. It's a statement. It's a way of telling yourself and the world that you matter, that you care about your dignity and well-being. Every day offers a fresh start, an opportunity to renew and restore. Don't let neglect dim the light of your vitality. Embrace the chance to nurture yourself, show the world your best version, and take pride in who you are, because you're worth every effort, every moment of care, and every act of self-respect. If you're still watching and finding these lessons helpful, please comment number 1 to let me know you're still with me. Thank you for your time and attention. Number 3, isolating yourself and neglecting your social life. When I was a child, there was a man in our building named Don Ricardo. He was the kind of person everyone adored, warm, affable, always with a smile and a story about his younger days. He was the life of the community gatherings, his laughter infectious. But then life took a difficult turn for him. His wife passed away, and his children moved away for work, building their own families in distant cities. At first, his withdrawal seemed natural, a period of grief anyone could understand. But as weeks turned into months and months into years, Don Ricardo slowly faded from our community. He stopped participating in activities, rarely left his apartment, and when neighbors reached out with invitations, they were met with silence. Even a friendly knock on his door became an exercise in futility. It was as though he had vanished into his own world. One day, my mother, ever persistent, asked me to accompany Don Ricardo to the corner store. She thought he might appreciate the company. I was surprised by his reluctance. He hesitated, as though even the simple act of stepping outside with someone else had become too burdensome. During our walk, I asked him why he no longer joined the gatherings or shared coffee with neighbors. His answer struck me deeply. "I don't have much to offer anymore. It's easier to be alone than to feel like I don't belong." That moment stayed with me, as it revealed a harsh truth about isolation. What appeared to be a choice, his independence, was in reality a prison built by fear. Fear of being seen as a burden, fear of not being understood, or fear of feeling irrelevant. Over time, his solitude began to erode not only his emotional health but his zest for life. The man who once filled hallways with laughter now lived in silence, his world shrinking bit by bit. The philosopher Epictetus once noted that humans are not solitary creatures by nature. While moments of introspection and solitude are valuable, they can never replace the need for connection. The problem with prolonged isolation is that it masquerades as a haven, when in truth it becomes a lonely, confining cage. I'm not suggesting life should be a constant flurry of social activities. There's immense value in enjoying your own company and embracing stillness. But completely disconnecting from others can be profoundly damaging. Relationships don't always require grand gestures or deep conversations. Sometimes, the smallest acts, a shared coffee, a phone call, or even a smile from a stranger, can keep us tethered to the world around us. Ask yourself this: when was the last time you truly connected with someone? Not for a purpose, but simply to share a moment, an idea, or a laugh. These connections, no matter how small, remind us that we are part of something greater, that we matter, and that our presence is significant. Eventually, with gentle nudges from his neighbors, Don Ricardo began to re-emerge. He accepted invitations to small gatherings, even if only for a short while. His laughter returned, hesitant at first but unmistakably his. The transformation was slow but profound. He realized that it wasn't about having something extraordinary to contribute. It was about simply being present. In that presence, he rediscovered a sense of belonging. Don't let fear, pride, or complacency pull you away from others. Building and maintaining connections isn't just about survival. It's about living fully and meaningfully. As Marcus Aurelius wisely wrote, "What we do for others, we do for ourselves." In giving your time, attention, and presence, you might just find that you receive even more in return. Number 4. Living to impress others. In a world where appearances often dictate perceptions and social validation feels like currency, it's all too easy to fall into the trap of trying to prove that everything in your life is perfect, even when it's not. This compulsion often creeps in unconsciously. It's those small, fleeting moments when you insist you're fine, even though you're overwhelmed, or when you quietly reject offers of help while secretly longing for support. Living to impress others can feel like wearing armor, a protective shield against judgment or rejection. You might exaggerate your past successes to seem more accomplished, or downplay your struggles to avoid appearing vulnerable. At first, this facade may feel like it's giving you control over how others perceive you, but over time that same shield transforms into a cage, trapping you within expectations that aren't truly yours. Imagine living your life as if you were on a stage, performing daily for an audience composed of family, friends, colleagues, and even strangers. Every move you make is carefully choreographed to ensure your performance is flawless. To the outside world, you appear confident and capable, effortlessly managing life's challenges. But when the curtains fall and the spotlight dims, the truth comes to light. You're drained. The effort to uphold that facade feels suffocating. Yet stepping off the stage and revealing your true self feels even more terrifying. Why do we do this? Why do so many of us choose the exhaustion of pretending over the vulnerability of authenticity? Perhaps it's because we fear that exposing our flaws and struggles will lead to judgment or rejection. Yet, as the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely observed, it is better to be despised for who we are than to be accepted for who we are not. Living to impress others builds relationships on illusions, not truths. Over time, the facade you work so hard to maintain can become so rigid that even you forget what lies beneath. There's a story that illustrates this perfectly. An elderly man lived in a quaint village, admired by everyone for his seemingly perfect life. His house was pristine, the garden meticulously maintained, with vibrant flowers that drew admiration from passers-by. Every week he welcomed visitors, friends, family, and neighbors, offering warm smiles and encouraging words to everyone who saw him. His life seemed perfect, almost enviable. But one stormy night, a fierce wind broke the back window of his house. A curious neighbor, concerned, decided to take a closer look. Peering inside, they were stunned. The interior of the home was nothing like its outward appearance. The furniture was old and tattered, the walls cracked and faded, and the rooms cluttered with neglect. Beneath the polished exterior lay a life far different from the one he had presented to the world. The man had devoted his energy to preserving the facade of perfection, leaving the reality of his life in disrepair. He had spent so much time trying to impress others that he had neglected himself. Isn't this the danger we all face when we live to impress others? By pouring all our efforts into maintaining appearances, we risk losing touch with who we really are and what truly matters. If you're still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you're still here with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 5. Falling into envy of what others have. Envy is a quiet emotion, often unnoticed until it quietly makes its way into your thoughts when you least expect it. It can appear in fleeting moments, like when you see someone with seemingly perfect health, a strong support system, or a life that seems more comfortable or fulfilling than your own. A brief comparison flashes across your mind, leaving behind a lingering thought. Why not me? This seemingly harmless question plants a seed, and before you know it, that seed of envy begins to grow, occupying space in your heart and mind. Envy is a subtle and insidious force. It often masquerades as frustration, discontent, or even motivation. But at its core, it reveals a deeper issue, a disconnect from your own sense of self-worth and from the abundance already present in your life. When you focus too much on the lives of others, you lose sight of your own unique blessings. It's like peering through a window at a neighbor's flourishing garden, admiring their vibrant blooms, while neglecting your own plot and letting it wither from inattention. Marcus Aurelius, the great philosopher, offered timeless wisdom when he said, "Do not waste time thinking about others' fortunes. Focus on how to use your own." This advice isn't just about material wealth. It extends to every corner of life. Maybe your neighbor enjoys robust health, but you have a deep appreciation for life's small, beautiful moments. Perhaps your friend is surrounded by a large, attentive family, while you enjoy the freedom to shape your days according to your desires and passions. By constantly comparing yourself to others, you overlook the treasures in your own life, treasures that remain hidden because you haven't taken the time to truly see them. The habit of comparison robs you of joy, and envy can quickly become a heavy burden. It focuses your attention on what you lack, creating invisible barriers between you and those you care for. Worse still, Envy can erode genuine relationships by making it hard to celebrate others' successes or happiness. In many ways, envy is like drinking poison and hoping it will harm someone else, when, in fact, you are the one who suffers the most. Thankfully, there's a powerful antidote to envy: practicing conscious gratitude each day. Set aside a moment to identify 3 things you value in your life. These don't have to be grand accomplishments or expensive possessions. It could be something as simple as the warmth of the morning sun on your skin, a laugh shared with a friend, or the comfort of knowing you have the freedom to choose how to spend your time. Gratitude shifts your focus inward, helping you see the beauty in your own life, rather than the perceived perfection in someone else's. Imagine the peace that could come from letting go of envy. When you stop measuring your worth against others, you create space for a deeper connection to your journey. The release of envy lightens your heart, improves your mood, and fosters healthier, more meaningful relationships. It allows you to recognize that your life holds its unique richness, one that isn't diminished by the successes or possessions of others. Ultimately, true wealth isn't found in comparing yourself to others or longing for what you don't have. It lies in your ability to savor the present moment, cherish the blessings that surround you, and find fulfillment in the simple, authentic elements of your life. By shifting your perspective, you can reclaim your sense of contentment and fully embrace the abundant beauty of your own story. Number 6. Neglecting your most valuable friendships. Over the years, life has a way of pulling our attention in countless directions: health challenges, family responsibilities, career demands, or the profound sense that things simply feel different as time goes on. Amidst all of this, it's tempting to believe that deep, meaningful friendships can sustain themselves without much effort. After all, these are the people who have known us at our best and worst, and we might assume that the bonds we've built will naturally endure. But this assumption can lead to one of the saddest and most harmful patterns: slowly relegating friendships to the background until they wither away unnoticed. Maybe you found yourself thinking that you no longer share as much in common with certain friends, or that physical and emotional distances have grown too wide to bridge. Perhaps you've told yourself that reaching out feels unnecessary because a true connection shouldn't require work. Yet relationships, even the deepest ones, need care and attention to thrive. When we stop making an effort, avoiding calls, postponing visits, or failing to show genuine interest in each other's lives, what once felt unbreakable begins to fray. Think about a friend who once felt like family, someone you laughed with until your sides hurt, confided in during your darkest moments, or simply sat in comforting silence with. Now consider how long it's been since you truly connected with them. Not just a quick text or a surface-level exchange, but the kind of conversation that leaves you feeling seen and understood. Those moments are rare treasures, but they require intentionality to create and sustain. Seneca wisely observed that friendship is both a refuge in hard times and a steady source of joy. As we age, when the circle of people in our lives tends to narrow, these relationships become more precious than ever. Yet neglecting them means depriving ourselves of one of life's greatest joys: the companionship of someone who knows us intimately, accepts us fully, and reminds us of who we are beneath the layers of life's complications. There's also a subtle danger at this stage: pride. It's easy to think, if they don't reach out, I won't either. This mindset might feel like self-preservation or independence, but in reality, it's a barrier that isolates us even further. Friendships aren't about keeping score. They're about recognizing the value of those connections and being willing to nurture them, regardless of who makes the first move. If someone important to you has drifted away, now is the time to bridge that gap. A heartfelt message, an unexpected phone call, or a visit can breathe life back into a fading connection. Don't dwell on the time that's been lost. Focus on what you can rebuild together. Reconnecting isn't about trying to recreate the past, but about sharing the present and strengthening a bond that still matters deeply. The neglect of friendships often happens subtly, without us fully realizing the impact until it's too late. Yet the consequences can run deep, affecting our happiness and sense of belonging. Don't let time or circumstances erode these invaluable ties. In the end, what makes life truly rich isn't the number of years we've lived, but the enduring connections we've nurtured along the way. Friendships are one of the most profound gifts we can give and receive. Don't let them slip away unnoticed. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 7. Constantly criticizing younger generations. Criticizing younger generations often begins with seemingly harmless remarks, but over time, it can develop into a destructive habit. Phrases like, "In my day, things were different," or "Young people today don't know anything," may sound innocent at first, but they subtly build a wall between you and the younger generations. This emotional distance isn't limited to strangers but can even affect your relationship with your children and grandchildren. What you might not realize is that this attitude not only strains relationships, but also hinders your ability to stay open-minded and adapt to the ever-evolving world around you. The Stoics had a profound perspective on this. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, advised against hastily judging the character of others without first reflecting on our own behavior and flaws. This wisdom is especially relevant when it comes to criticizing younger generations. Rather than viewing their differences as weaknesses, we should embrace them as opportunities to learn and expand our understanding of the world. Every generation faces unique challenges, adapting in ways that are often beyond our comprehension. By criticizing them without trying to understand their perspective, we limit ourselves and miss out on valuable lessons that could enrich our lives. Constantly criticizing younger generations can lead to emotional exhaustion, fostering a pessimistic worldview and trapping us in nostalgia that glorifies the past while devaluing the present. However, the present is neither better nor worse than the past, it is simply different. So, what might you gain by shifting your focus from what you believe has been lost to the possibilities and opportunities that exist today? Epictetus wisely reminded us that while we cannot control the behavior of others, we always have control over our reactions to them. Instead of resorting to criticism, what if we chose to observe without judgment? Looking at the world through the eyes of younger generations can be an exercise in humility and growth. You may not always agree with their perspective, but embracing that openness can help build bridges rather than walls. Take a moment to reflect. How often do you find yourself pointing out what younger people are doing wrong, instead of asking them how they see the world and what they are experiencing? Constant criticism stifles meaningful conversations, but curiosity and a genuine desire to understand spark those connections. A small shift in attitude can transform a distant, strained relationship into a deeper, more meaningful one. In the end, criticizing others without seeking understanding not only affects those around you, but also isolates you from the present and from the people who could offer valuable insights that might broaden your perspective. Practicing empathy doesn't mean accepting everything without question, but rather being open to learning and understanding. In doing so, you strengthen relationships that still have the potential to grow, as the Stoics emphasized. True wisdom doesn't lie in judging others, but in striving to understand them. Number 8. Living trapped in your past frustrations. There are times in life when it feels impossible not to revisit moments where things didn't turn out as we hoped. Perhaps it was a project that didn't go as planned, a relationship that ended in heartbreak, or decisions we now wish we could undo. These moments, no matter how distant, can resurface like an endless loop, replaying in our minds and making us focus on what could have been. But the question is, how much longer are you going to carry that weight with you? I understand. I've been there too. There are moments when my mind stubbornly drags me back into the past, making me relive situations where I feel I made the wrong choices or didn't do enough. Reflecting on the past is natural, and to some extent, even useful. It can offer lessons, help you grow, and guide future decisions. But when you allow those memories to trap you in an endless cycle, you're not learning from them. You're draining your energy and losing your grip on the present. It's as if you're trying to drive a car by only staring at the rearview mirror. You simply can't move forward. Even worse, by staying stuck in those past frustrations, you're risking the opportunities that lie right in front of you. The Stoics, especially Seneca, had a powerful perspective on this. He famously said, "You can't reverse the river of time, but you can learn to flow with it." The past, no matter how painful or regretful, cannot be undone. But you have the power to reinterpret it. Instead of seeing it as a string of mistakes, failures, or missed chances, what if you began to view the past as the teacher that shaped you into who you are today? Every choice, every painful experience has contributed to your growth. The real issue is that we often hold on to frustration because, in some way, we believe it's a form of justice. As if mentally punishing ourselves for what we think we did wrong could somehow erase or atone for it. But in reality, that mental punishment changes nothing. It only keeps you anchored in the past, preventing you from embracing the present moment and all its possibilities. The most powerful act of liberation you can perform is to forgive yourself. Not because you forget what happened, but because you consciously choose to stop letting those past moments control your life. I want to offer a simple but transformative exercise. Take a moment, close your eyes, and picture yourself with a backpack. Each frustration, regret, and negative feeling is a stone inside it. Feel the weight pressing on you. Now ask yourself, what would life be like if you could walk through it without that burden? What would change if you could release it? The good news is that it's much easier than it seems. You don't need grand ceremonies or dramatic gestures. It all starts with a quiet, powerful decision. I choose not to let this define me anymore. The reality is that the only true moment of power you have is right now. Don't let your past frustrations determine who you are today. Free yourself. Not because they don't matter, but because they've already served their purpose to teach and shape you. Now it's your turn to move forward, lighter, clearer, and ready to embrace the new opportunities and fresh starts that each new day brings. Number 9. Rejecting new ideas or experiences. It's incredibly easy to fall into the habit of rejecting new ideas or experiences, especially as we get older. At a certain point, it may feel like you've seen and experienced enough of what the world has to offer. You might think that what you've done so far is enough, or that the modern world, with its ever-evolving ideas and trends, isn't for you. Perhaps you've become set in your ways, believing that new experiences are unnecessary or even overwhelming. However, what may initially feel like harmless resistance to change can gradually become a barrier that isolates you, cutting off access to one of life's greatest sources of vitality, the constant opportunity to learn and grow. Imagine your life as a book. Every chapter that's already been written is filled with experiences, lessons, and moments that have shaped you into the person you are today. These chapters are valuable, rich with meaning, and have contributed to your wisdom and understanding. But what if you decided to close the book now, telling yourself that you've lived enough, that there's no need for more chapters? What would happen to all the unwritten pages? Every new experience and idea is like a blank page, waiting to be filled with something unexpected, something you could never have imagined. To close the book too early is to miss out on all the possibilities that lie ahead. Take the story of Margarita, a listener who shared her journey a few months ago. At 72 years old, Margarita had long believed that she was too old for new things. She had avoided learning new technologies, showed little interest in her grandchildren's hobbies, and rejected any invitation that would have taken her out of her established routine. Her mindset was rooted in comfort and familiarity, until one day, after hearing a video that encouraged embracing new experiences, Margarita decided to take a small yet significant step. She would learn how to use the mobile phone her daughter had given her several months ago, but which she had never even touched. At first, Margarita struggled. She felt clumsy and frustrated, unsure of how to navigate the unfamiliar technology. But with time and patience, she began to understand. She learned how to send text messages, make video calls, and eventually joined an online community where people shared recipes. This simple change brought immense value to her life. Not only did it help her stay better connected to her family, but in her own words, it made her realize she was still capable of learning, still engaged with the world around her, and not as disconnected as she had once thought. Margarita's story is a beautiful reminder that no matter our age, there's always room for growth and discovery. Rejecting new experiences simply because they feel uncomfortable or unfamiliar is a surefire way to limit our potential. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, famously said, "If nature has endowed us with reason, it's to adapt to change, not to resist it." This wisdom speaks to the heart of why embracing new things, even when they seem challenging at first, is essential for growth. It's not about mastering technology or keeping up with every trend. It's about keeping the spirit of curiosity alive. For you, this might not be about learning to use a smartphone. It could be as simple as picking up a hobby you've always wanted to try, reading a book on a topic you know little about, or embracing an activity that takes you out of your comfort zone. Each time you open yourself to the new, you expand your horizons and send a powerful message to yourself. I'm still curious, I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and most importantly, I'm still alive. So take a moment to reflect. What ideas or experiences have you been rejecting lately? Is there something you've been avoiding simply because it feels unfamiliar or intimidating? Maybe now is the time to change that mindset and open the door to new possibilities. Life will continue to offer opportunities for learning and enjoyment, but only if you keep the door open and remain willing to step through. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 4 below to let me know that you're still with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Underestimating the impact of your emotions on others is a common misconception. We often believe that our emotions are entirely private, that what we feel stays locked inside and doesn't affect anyone else. However, the truth is that our emotions ripple outward, profoundly affecting those around us. Every thought, every word, and every action that stems from our emotional state impacts those closest to us, whether we realize it or not. Our emotional energy can either build bridges or create barriers between us and others. Consider this. If you walk into a room holding a glass of water, and someone accidentally bumps into you, the water splashes and spills onto whatever is nearby, soaking the surface. Emotions work in much the same way. What you carry inside inevitably spills out, often in ways you don't intend or foresee, leaving an impression on the people in your life. What might feel like a small internal struggle can become a much larger issue for the relationships you value most. A quick, thoughtless comment, a fleeting gesture of frustration, or even a quiet air of tension can have a much deeper effect than we realize. As the Roman philosopher Cicero once said, "A calm spirit is like a gentle fire that illuminates those who come near. But what happens when that gentle fire turns into a raging blaze?" The way we manage and express our emotions shapes not only how we see ourselves, but also how others perceive us and how they feel in our presence. If your emotions remain unchecked, they can color every interaction and leave a trail of negative energy in your wake. Think about a time when you've been disappointed by someone you care about. Perhaps a child who doesn't reach out as often as you'd like, or a friend who seems to have forgotten the importance of your bond. Those feelings of hurt and frustration, while completely valid, can manifest in ways that others might interpret as criticism or rejection, even if that's not what you intend. These emotions, though justified, can lead to actions that cause unnecessary strain in your relationships. It's important to ask yourself, how do I want to be remembered by those I love? Do you want to be someone who brought light into their lives, or someone who contributed to an atmosphere of tension and resentment? The answer lies in your awareness of how your emotions affect those around you. Before reacting in a moment of frustration or hurt, take a brief pause to consider the potential impact of your words or actions. Ask yourself, what will the consequences be of what I'm about to say or do? Am I acting out of understanding, or am I letting unresolved emotions lead me? That moment of reflection can be the turning point between strengthening a relationship and weakening it. It's not about ignoring or suppressing your emotions. They are valid and deserve recognition, but it's about expressing them in ways that are constructive rather than destructive. When we speak from a place of calm, choose gratitude over criticism, and recognize our feelings without projecting them onto others, we not only build stronger, healthier relationships, but we also show wisdom in how we engage with the world. The power of your emotions doesn't stop with you. It extends to everyone around you, and how you manage them can either uplift or drain those you interact with. By intentionally expressing your emotions with mindfulness and care, you create an environment that fosters connection, peace, and mutual respect. In the end, what we leave in others, how they feel in our presence, is a reflection of what we cultivate within ourselves. So, choose to nurture your emotional awareness, and in doing so, you'll foster a life that is filled with greater purpose and lasting peace. Giving up on self-love because it no longer matters is a dangerous mindset. Over time, a quiet thought starts to settle in your mind, almost like a whisper you can't quite shake. Does it even matter what I want or need? This thought can appear in many forms. When you ignore physical pain because it doesn't seem severe enough to address, when you convince yourself it's not worth making an effort to start something new, or when you tell yourself that taking time for self-care just isn't necessary anymore. At first glance, these thoughts may seem innocent or even pragmatic, but in reality, they slowly erode the foundation of self-love. We can't afford to stop prioritizing ourselves no matter how old we are or how much time has passed. Self-love isn't a luxury, nor is it something that becomes irrelevant with age. It becomes even more vital as the years go by. Self-love is not about selfishness or ignoring the needs of others, but about recognizing and honoring your intrinsic value. It's about caring for your body, mind, and spirit, and treating yourself with the same compassion and respect you would extend to someone you deeply care about. The Stoics had profound wisdom when it came to self-love, viewing it as a fundamental responsibility rather than a fleeting feeling. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, wrote, "The soul is dyed with the color of your thoughts." What he meant was that how you treat yourself, whether with care and respect or with neglect and indifference, ripples through every aspect of your life. If you treat yourself poorly, that attitude will seep into how you approach every challenge, relationship, and experience. But if you choose to respect and care for yourself, even in the smallest of ways, that respect radiates outward, influencing how you show up in the world. Loving yourself doesn't need to involve grand gestures or dramatic life changes. It can begin with simple, often overlooked acts of self-care. It's about taking the time to prioritize your health, whether through exercise, rest, or nourishing your body with the right food. It's about carving out moments of peace throughout the day to recharge your mental batteries. It's choosing kind words for yourself instead of allowing self-criticism to dominate your thoughts. Maybe it's about permitting yourself to pursue a passion or hobby that brings you joy, or seeking the support you need when life feels overwhelming. It could even be as simple as looking at yourself in the mirror and accepting the person staring back, every wrinkle, every flaw, and every mark that tells the story of your strength. Self-love is also a critical foundation for facing life's inevitable challenges with grace and dignity. Caring for your physical health isn't just about looking good. It's about understanding that your body is the vessel that allows you to experience life to its fullest. Likewise, nurturing your mind, keeping it curious, open, and learning, is a way of honoring the precious time you have left. Caring for your spirit, whether through practices like gratitude, meditation, or simply accepting the beauty of life as it is an act of deep wisdom. It's about reconnecting with what truly matters. Never underestimate the power of small acts of self-love. Each time you choose to prioritize your well-being, you're laying the groundwork for a life that's fuller and more meaningful, not by eliminating struggles, but by facing them from a place of inner strength and self-respect. Self-love isn't something we can afford to abandon at any stage of life. It's a necessity and a responsibility. If you don't care for yourself, who will? Life isn't measured by the years you've lived, but by how you've lived them. Self-love is the key to making those years count. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, Please comment number 5 below to let me know you're still with me. Thank you for your valuable time. As we grow older, many of us tend to underestimate the importance of money. We often believe that the financial pressures we experience in our youth or middle years will naturally lessen with time. However, the reality is far different. Money remains a critical factor in shaping the quality of our lives, especially as we enter our later years. In fact, the value of money doesn't decrease as we age. It actually becomes more significant as we face new challenges such as retirement, rising healthcare costs, and the need for security in an increasingly unpredictable world. First and foremost, money offers us a sense of independence. As we age, the ability to work may decline, whether due to physical limitations or the diminishing availability of job opportunities. This can leave us feeling vulnerable or dependent on others for financial support, which can be emotionally draining. Financial independence, however, allows us to retain control over our lives. It enables us to cover daily expenses, pay for health care, and indulge in small pleasures, all while making decisions on our own terms, without the weight of external constraints. Furthermore, it allows us to avoid becoming a financial burden on our children or loved ones, helping us preserve our dignity and self-respect as we age. Another important reason why money becomes more essential with age is the rising cost of healthcare. While we all hope to remain healthy as we grow older, the reality is that health issues tend to increase with age. Medical treatments, medications, and long-term care can become extraordinarily expensive, especially if chronic conditions arise or if we require assistance with daily activities. Without sufficient savings or a reliable income, these costs can quickly spiral out of control, causing unnecessary financial strain and distress. This is why money isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. Having adequate financial resources enables us to access quality medical care, receive necessary treatments, and maintain a comfortable living environment as we navigate health challenges. It also provides peace of mind, ensuring that we don't have to choose between our health and our finances, an impossible decision no one should ever face. Moreover, money is crucial for maintaining a comfortable and fulfilling lifestyle as we age. Ideally, retirement should be a time of relaxation, a time to reflect on a lifetime of hard work, and to enjoy the fruits of that labor without the constant worry of financial stress. However, without proper financial planning, retirement can quickly turn into a period of anxiety and uncertainty. If we haven't saved enough, we may find ourselves struggling to meet basic needs or unable to enjoy the activities that bring us joy and fulfillment. On the other hand, careful financial management ensures that our retirement years are filled with enriching experiences, whether it's traveling, pursuing hobbies, spending quality time with loved ones, or simply enjoying the comforts of home. Financial security opens these possibilities, allowing us to fully enjoy the freedom that comes with retirement. Beyond meeting basic needs, money plays a vital role in the legacy we leave behind. Many of us wish to leave something meaningful for our children, grandchildren, or charitable causes, but this requires careful saving and planning. Without sufficient financial resources, we may miss the opportunity to contribute to future generations or support causes that matter most to us. Whether it's helping a grandchild with their education, supporting a loved one in need, or contributing to a charitable cause, these acts of generosity are often made possible by the financial resources we accumulate throughout our lives. In this way, money not only impacts our own lives, but also gives us the means to make a lasting, positive difference in the lives of others. In conclusion, it is essential not to underestimate the importance of money as we age. Although financial concerns are often viewed as problems that only affect the young or middle-aged, money remains just as vital, if not more so, in our later years. It provides independence, ensures access to health care, supports a fulfilling lifestyle, and enables us to leave a meaningful legacy. As we grow older, it becomes increasingly important to prioritize financial planning so we can secure our future and enjoy our golden years with peace of mind, security, and freedom. Never forget the power of money. It is a tool that can greatly enhance the quality of life in our later years, allowing us to live with greater control, dignity, and joy. As we age, we may face changes that can catch us off guard, some of which may be unpleasant. However, it's important to know how to handle these challenges so we can continue to live our golden years to the fullest. By being mindful of these aspects, we can adapt and improve our quality of life. Remember, aging doesn't have to be negative as long as we approach it with wisdom and optimism. If this video has opened your eyes to the realities of aging, don't forget to share it with your friends and subscribe to our channel for more content that helps you face life with a better perspective. Your support means a lot to us and motivates us to continue creating videos that inspire you. Thank you for your time and for being part of our community.